The bridge knows her name, though no one else does anymore. Kara Brennan wakes at 4:17 in the morning, same as every morning for the past 6 years. Not because she wants to, because the dreams won't let her sleep past that hour. The concrete alcove beneath the Coronado Bridge holds the cold like a fist, and even in July, the Pacific wind cuts through the cardboard she's layered against the wall. Her hands are shaking. They always shake after the dreams. In this one, Laurel was bleeding again, calling her name, asking her why she led them into that building, why she didn't see the shooter on the third floor, why she promised to watch over Harper and then disappeared like smoke. Kara sits up slowly. Her back screams. 54 years old and her spine feels 80. She reaches for the military rucksack that holds everything she owns in this world. Green canvas faded to gray. The name tape's still visible if you look close enough, Brennan. She doesn't look at it anymore. The contents never change. One frame photograph glass cracked down the middle. Lydia at 8 years old missing her front tooth holding up a paper target riddled with tight groupings. Her daughter's first day at the range. The day Kara taught her that breathing controls everything. Steady breath, steady hand, steady shot. A Purple Heart medal wrapped in black cloth. She earned it in Ramadi 2004. Took shrapnel from a grenade that should have killed her. Laurel Wade pulled her behind cover, tied the tourniquet herself, kept Kara conscious by telling her stupid jokes until the medevac arrived. Laurel, always Laurel. The third item is a portable radio broken for 3 years now. It belonged to Laurel. They'd shared a hooch in Iraq, and Laurel would play old country music at night. Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline, songs about heartbreak and highways and coming home. Kara never came home, not really. She unwraps a protein bar she found in a dumpster behind a grocery store. Still sealed. Only 2 days past expiration. She eats half saves, half for later. Discipline. The SEALs taught her that. Ration everything. Ammo, water, food, trust. Especially trust. The sun isn't up yet, but the traffic overhead is already building. Morning commuters heading to office jobs and coffee shops and lives that make sense. Kara stands, folds the cardboard, tucks it behind a support beam where the other homeless won't take it. There's an unspoken code down here. Don't steal someone's bedding. Don't mess with someone's spot. Don't ask questions you don't want answered. She's walking toward the public restroom 3 blocks away when she sees it. A flyer, crumpled wedged between the slats of a bus stop bench. White paper, official looking. She almost walks past, but something makes her stop. Some instinct. The same instinct that kept her alive in Fallujah when everyone else in the stack was looking at the wrong doorway. She picks it up, smooths it against her thigh. Navy SEAL Class 347. Graduation ceremony, Coronado Naval Base, July 14th, 2024, 1700 hours. Her eyes scan the text. Formal language, dress code, map to the auditorium, and then at the bottom, the graduate roster. Alphabetical. She's not looking for anything, just reading, just passing time. And then she sees it. Brennan, Lydia Marie, squad leader. The world tilts. Kara sits down hard on the bench. The flyer crumples in her fist. She smooths it again, reads the name 3 times. 4, 5. Lydia, her daughter, her baby girl who cried when Kara left for her first deployment, who asked every night why mommy had bad dreams, who said at 15 years old with tears streaming down her face, "If you loved me, you'd stay." Lydia is graduating from BUD/S. Lydia is becoming a SEAL. Lydia is becoming what Kara once was. The protein bar comes back up. Kara leans over the gutter and retches, but there's nothing in her stomach except acid and regret. She wipes her mouth with the back of her hand, the hand that used to hold a rifle steady at 1,200 meters, the hand that shook Laurel Wade awake when they pulled guard duty in Ramadi, the hand that tried to stop the bleeding when Laurel took that round in Fallujah, the hand that almost struck her own daughter during a flashback in 2016. She looks at the flyer again. July 14th. Today is July 12th. 2 days. Coronado Naval Base. 43 miles from here. Kara stands. She doesn't make decisions anymore. Decisions require a future, and she doesn't have one. But her feet start walking. East, toward the base, toward the daughter who thinks she's dead, she walks. The first day she makes it 18 miles before her feet start bleeding. She's wearing boots she found at a donation center 4 months ago. Men's size 9, half a size too big, but better than the sneakers that fell apart last winter. The soles are thin. Every rock, every crack in the sidewalk, she feels it in her bones. At mile 12, she passes the neighborhood where she used to live. Small house, 2 bedrooms. Mortgage she could barely afford on a Master Chief's salary, but it had a backyard where Lydia could play and a garage where Kara kept her reloading bench. The house is painted different now, blue instead of gray. There's a swing set in the yard, someone else's children, someone else's life. She doesn't stop. At mile 15, she passes the cemetery. She's avoided this place for 6 years. Couldn't face it. Couldn't face the stone with Laurel's name on it. Couldn't face Vivian Wade, Laurel's wife, who probably hates her. Couldn't face Harper, Laurel's daughter, who was 13 when Kara made that promise and then vanished. But her feet slow. Stop. The cemetery gates are open. Visiting hours until sunset. Kara walks in. She knows where the plot is. Section 7, row 14. Military section. Rows of white headstones perfectly aligned. SEALs don't get Arlington unless they're Medal of Honor recipients, but they get this. San Diego National Cemetery. Ocean view, eternal rest among brothers and sisters. She finds the stone. Lieutenant Commander Laurel Ann Wade, used to Navy SEAL, 1978 to 2008. Call sign, Hawk, beloved wife and mother, fresh flowers. Red roses. Someone's been here recently. Kara kneels. Her knees crack. The grass is soft, well-maintained. She reaches out, traces the letters of Laurel's name. Hey, Hawk, she whispers. The wind doesn't answer. It never does. I'm sorry I haven't come. I'm sorry I broke the promise. I'm sorry for all of it. There's a photograph wedged into the base of the headstone, protected by plastic. Kara picks it up. It's Laurel in dress white's arm around a teenage girl. Harper, maybe 15, 16 years old. They're both smiling. Kara turns the photo over. Someone's written on the back in blue pen. Uncle Kara, wherever you are, Mom always said you were the bravest person she knew. We miss you. Harper Wade, 2022. Uncle Kara. That's what Harper called her when she was little, before she could pronounce aunt. It stuck 2 years ago. Harper was looking for her 2 years ago. Kara puts the photo back. She wants to say more, but the words are stuck somewhere between her chest and her throat. So she just sits there, on the grass, next to the woman who saved her life twice and who she couldn't save once. Lydia's graduating, she finally says. She's a SEAL now, or will be in 2 days. I'm going to see her. I don't know if she'll want to see me, but I'm going anyway. I had to tell you. A shadow falls across the grave. Kara looks up. A young woman stands there. Early 20s, Navy working uniform, logistics specialist, rank insignia. She has Laurel's eyes, Laurel's jawline, Laurel's way of standing with her weight slightly forward, ready to move. Harper, Kara's voice cracks. The woman nods. Master Chief Brennan. Not a question, a statement. Kara starts to stand, but her legs won't cooperate. Harper moves forward, offers a hand, pulls her up. The girl is strong, sailor strong. How did you? I visit Mom every week, Harper says quietly. I saw you from the parking lot. I recognized you from the photos. Kara doesn't know what to say. Sorry seems too small. Explanation seems too complicated. Harper saves her the trouble. I'm glad you came. Mom would be glad. I doubt that. I don't. Harper reaches into her pocket, pulls out an envelope. Mom Viv wanted me to give this to you if I ever found you. She wrote it years ago, just in case. Vivian, Laurel's wife. Kara takes the envelope. Her name is written on the front in careful handwriting. She doesn't hate you, Harper says, reading Kara's expression. She never did. She understood. She was Navy too. She knew what it costs. Kara slides the letter into her rucksack. She'll read it later, when she can breathe. Thank you, she manages. Harper hesitates, then steps forward and hugs her. A brief, fierce embrace. Kara stands there frozen until Harper steps back. Take care of yourself, Uncle Kara. And then she's gone. Kara stands at the grave for another hour, watching the sun move across the headstones, thinking about promises, about costs, about the fact that Lydia is graduating in 2 days and Kara smells like concrete and failure, and there's no way they'll let her through the gate looking like this. But she's going anyway. She walks. Mile 27, bus stop. Kara sits on the bench, takes off her boots, peels off her socks. Blood, blisters broken and weeping. She should stop, rest, let them heal. But if she stops, she won't start again. She wraps her feet in strips torn from an old t-shirt, puts the socks back on, laces the boots, stands, walks. Mile 34, sunset. A man at a gas station sees her limp, offers her a ride. No, thank you, sir, Kara says. You sure you look like you could use... I'm sure, but I appreciate it. He shrugs, drives off. Kara keeps walking. She doesn't accept rides, doesn't accept help. It's a rule, the same rule that kept her alive for 6 years under a bridge. Stay invisible. Stay moving. Don't owe anyone anything. But the man's kindness sits with her. She thinks about Reese Calloway, the Gulf War vet she shared the bridge with, lost his leg in Desert Storm, spent 20 years in and out of VA hospitals before the streets claimed him. Reese was the one who found her the first night she showed up under the bridge, shaking and wild-eyed, and said, "You're safe here, I got you." Reese was the one Harper paid to watch over her. Kara figured it out about 6 months ago. The way he always had an extra blanket when the cold got bad. The way he'd share food even when he had none. The way he'd wake her up when the nightmares got too loud before she could scream and draw attention. She'll have to thank him when she gets back. If she gets back. Mile 41. Coronado Bridge in the distance. Almost there. Kara stops at a public restroom. Uses the sink to wash her face, her hands, her arms. The water is cold. The soap dispenser is empty. She does the best she can. Studies herself in the mirror. Hollow cheeks, sunken eyes. Hair that hasn't been cut in 2 years pulled back in a matted braid. Beard. She doesn't have a beard, but there's stubble on her jaw, dark circles under her eyes that look like bruises. She looks like exactly what she is, a ghost. She reaches into her rucksack, pulls out the invitation she printed at a library. The flyer. She's folded and unfolded it so many times it's soft as cloth. She reads Lydia's name again. Her daughter. Her baby girl. Kara puts the flyer in her jacket pocket, shoulders her rucksack, walks. The sun is setting when she reaches the gates of Coronado Naval Base. The base is exactly as she remembers it. White buildings, manicured lawns, American flags snapping in the Pacific wind. The bronze seal trident monument at the main entrance, catching the last light of day. She used to belong here. Now she's just another trespasser. Families are flooding through the gates. Men in pressed suits, women in summer dresses, children with flowers and balloons. They're here for the ceremony. Here to watch their sons and daughters earn the trident, to pin the gold insignia over their hearts and say, "I'm proud of you." Karastan is at the edge of the parking lot. Her reflection stares back at her from a car window. She looks worse than she thought. The walk took something out of her. She's swaying on her feet. But she's here. She walks toward the entrance. 2 security guards stand at the checkpoint. Garrett Flynn, the name tape says. Young, maybe 28. Fresh-faced and by the book. The other one is Dex Hollis. Older. 31, maybe 32. Harder eyes. Combat deployment ribbon on his uniform. Garrett sees her first. His nose wrinkles. Just a fraction. But Kara catches it. She smells. She knows she smells. Concrete dust and sweat and 6 years of living rough. "Ma'am," Garrett says, stepping forward. Not aggressive, but firm. "Can I help you?" Kara reaches into her jacket. Garrett's hand moves toward his sidearm. Just instinct. Dex notices, shifts his weight. Kara moves slowly, pulls out the invitation, hands it over. Garrett takes it, studies it, frowns. "This says guest of Lydia Brennan. Are you family?" "I'm her mother." The words feel strange in her mouth. Foreign. She hasn't said them out loud in 6 years. Dex steps closer now, arms crossed. "You got any ID to confirm that?" Kara hesitates. Her driver's license expired 4 years ago. She has nothing, no proof. Nothing but a cracked photograph in her rucksack and a name that doesn't mean anything to anyone anymore. "I don't," she says quietly, "but I just want to sit in the back. I won't cause any trouble." Garrett looks at Dex. Dex looks at the line of families forming behind Kara. Protocol says no ID, no entry. But something in the way this woman stands, something in her eyes makes Garrett pause. Dex sees it too. He's studying her hands, the scars, the calluses. The way her fingers are positioned, even standing still. Trigger discipline. "Wait here," Garrett says. He steps aside, keys his radio. "Control, this is gate 3. We have a situation." Inside the auditorium, Admiral James Crawford is reviewing the ceremony roster. He's 58 years old, 35 years in the Navy, 3 combat deployments, 2 Bronze Stars, a career built on discipline and duty, and the absolute certainty that every word he speaks carries the weight of the institution he serves. Today he'll give a speech about legacy, about what it means to earn the trident, about the men and women who came before, who bled and died so that these young sailors could stand on this stage. He doesn't know that one of those legends is standing outside in rags, bleeding through her boots, asking for entry. Not yet. Garrett comes back 3 minutes later. Commander Rita Stone is with him. 45 years old, senior instructor. She's seen more SEAL candidates than most people have seen sunrises, and she can spot a faker at 500 yards. She walks up to Kara, looks her up and down, sees the dirt, The smell, the hollow eyes. Then she looks deeper. She sees the way Kara stands, weight balanced, ready to move. She sees the scars on Kara's hands, rope burns, knife cuts. The specific pattern of tissue damage that comes from fast roping and weapons handling and 20 years of hard use. She sees the tattoo peeking out from under Kara's sleeve. Just a glimpse. Coordinates. Numbers. "Ma'am," Stone says quietly, "have you served?" Kara nods once. "Branch, Navy." "Rate?" Kara hesitates. "Then Master Chief, Special Operations." Something shifts in Stone's expression. She glances at Garrett. "Let me see the bag." Kara hands over her rucksack. Stone unzips it, sees the photograph. Lydia, 8 years old at the range. She sees the Purple Heart wrapped in black cloth. She sees the dog tags on a chain, not Kara's tags, someone else's. Wade Laurel AUSN seal. Stone's eyes widen. Just a fraction. She zips the bag, hands it back. "Garrett," she says quietly, "let her in." "Ma'am, protocol says." "I know what protocol says, let her in. Keep her bag at security. Give her a claim ticket. She can collect it after the ceremony." Garrett hesitates, then nods. He takes the rucksack, hands Kara a numbered ticket. Stone steps closer. Her voice drops. "Master Chief, welcome home." Kara's throat closes. She can't speak, just nods. Stone opens the gate. Kara walks through. The auditorium looms ahead, white and gleaming in the dying light. She can hear the low hum of voices inside, the shuffling of chairs, the distant sound of a brass band warming up. Her heart is hammering. She hasn't been on a military base in 6 years. It feels like stepping into a past life, like walking through a door that shouldn't exist anymore. Inside the auditorium is packed. 300 people, maybe more. Rows and rows of families. At the front, a stage draped in navy blue and gold. Behind it, the American flag and the Navy SEAL trident emblem, massive and gleaming. Kara slips into the last row. Corner seat, near the exit. Shadow territory. A few people turn to look at her. A woman in a floral dress wrinkles her nose, whispers something to her husband. A man in a suit shifts his chair a few inches away. A teenager stares, then looks away when Kara meets her eyes. Kara keeps her gaze forward. The ceremony begins. The brass band plays the national anthem. Everyone rises. Kara stands slowly. Her hand goes over her heart. Her lips move silently to words she hasn't spoken aloud in years. Land of the free, home of the brave. She's neither of those things anymore. But she's here. And somewhere in this room, sitting with the other graduates, is her daughter. The daughter who thinks Kara is dead, or gone, or too broken to come back. The daughter who became a SEAL anyway. Kara's vision blurs. She blinks hard, forces herself to focus. Admiral Crawford takes the podium. He's tall, silver hair, the kind of bearing that comes from decades of command. His voice carries across the auditorium without microphone assistance. "Ladies and gentlemen," he begins, "today we honor the men and women who have earned the right to wear the trident. It is not a gift. It is not inherited. It is earned through pain, through fear, through the refusal to quit when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to stop." Kara knows these words. She's heard them before, spoken them before. She's lived them. These sailors, Crawford continues, are not superheroes. They are human. But they have chosen to become something more. They have chosen a path that most will never understand, and they have walked it with courage and honor. The audience is silent, rapt. Crawford's voice drops, becomes almost conversational. "But let me tell you something about courage. Real courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to move forward despite it. It's the SEAL who takes the shot when their hands are shaking. It's the medic who runs into fire to save a wounded teammate. It's the leader who makes the call knowing some of their people might not come home." Kara's hands clench in her lap. She knows about calls like that. She made one in Fallujah, 2008. Breach the building, secure the hostages, fast and clean, except it wasn't clean, and Laurel Wade didn't come home. "And here's the part they don't tell you," Crawford says. "The part that doesn't make it into the movies or the recruiting posters. Courage doesn't end when the mission's over. Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones you fight alone, in the dark, when no one's watching, when there's no medal waiting at the end." He pauses, lets that sink in. So when you see these graduates today, understand this. What you're witnessing isn't the end of their journey. It's the beginning. And the road ahead will test them in ways they cannot imagine. But they will walk it, because that's what SEALs do. He steps back. The audience applauds. Kara doesn't move. Her hands are shaking too hard. The roll call begins. One by one, the graduates are called to the stage. Each one receives their trident from Admiral Crawford. Each one shakes his hand. And then the tradition. The question he asks every single graduate. Is there a SEAL present who would like to pin this trident? Usually it's a father, a brother, a mentor, someone who walked the path before and wants to pass the torch. Kara watches as fathers in dress white step forward. As older SEALs with gray beards and chests full of ribbons come up to honor the young sailors they trained. Each pinning is a moment, a passing of legacy, a connection between generations. She wonders who will step forward for Lydia. She wonders if anyone will. And then the name is called. Brennan, Lydia Marie. Kara's breath stops. There she is. Lydia walks to the stage and Kara sees everything she missed. 6 years compressed into the space between heartbeats. Her daughter is taller than she remembers, broader in the shoulders, the soft roundness of adolescence replaced by muscle and precision. Her hair is pulled back in a regulation bun. Her dress whites are crisp, perfect creases, spit-shine shoes that catch the stage lights. She walks like a SEAL, weight forward, eyes scanning, situational awareness even in a ceremony. Kara taught her that before everything fell apart. Before the nightmares got so bad that Kara woke up with her hands around her own daughter's throat, seeing an enemy combatant instead of a 15-year-old girl in pajamas. Admiral Crawford hands Lydia the trident, small, gold, weighs almost nothing but means everything. Top of your class, Crawford says loud enough for the first few rows to hear. Squad leader, exemplary performance across all phases. Your instructors tell me you ran the O course in under 9 minutes. That's a record for this class. Lydia stands at attention. Thank you, sir, Crawford's voice carries. Is there a SEAL present who would like to pin this trident? The auditorium goes quiet. Lydia scans the crowd. Her eyes move across the rows of families, looking for someone who isn't there. Her mother died 6 years ago. That's what she believes. That's what Kara let her believe. The silence stretches. And then from the back of the room in the shadows where no one has been paying attention, a scarred hand rises slowly into the air. Kara doesn't mean to do it. It's instinct, a mother's reflex. But the moment her hand goes up, the moment her sleeve slides back and reveals the ink on her forearm, everything stops. Lydia's eyes find her. For 3 seconds, nothing happens. Lydia just stares. Her face goes blank. Shock maybe, disbelief. The kind of expression that comes when your brain can't process what your eyes are seeing. Then her mouth opens. Mom! Not loud, barely a whisper. But in the absolute silence of the auditorium, it carries. Crawford's head snaps around. He looks confused. Checks his roster. Lydia's mother isn't listed. Dead, the file says. Died 2018. He follows Lydia's gaze to the back of the room. Sees the homeless woman standing in the shadows. Sees her hand raised. Sees the sleeve fallen back. Sees the tattoo. Crawford's face goes white. He's 58 years old. He's seen combat. He's commanded teams. He stood over the bodies of men he trained and watched them get loaded into C-100s for the flight home. He doesn't rattle easily, but his hand flies to his mouth because he knows that tattoo. Everyone in Naval Special Warfare knows that tattoo. Coordinates, 33.3152 degrees, north 44.3661 degrees east, Fallujah. The exact spot where Lieutenant Commander Laurel Wade died covering a hostage rescue, where Master Chief Kara Brennan carried 8 people to safety through 4 kilometers of enemy fire, where the ghost of Fallujah earned a legend that people still whisper about in the teams. Crawford steps down from the stage. His heels click on the polished floor. The entire auditorium holds its breath. Families turn in their seats. Graduates crane their necks. 300 people watching as an admiral walks down the center aisle toward a homeless woman in rags. He stops in front of Kara, looks her up and down, sees the dirt under her fingernails, the blood seeping through her boots, the hollow cheeks, the smell of the streets. Then he sees the rest of the tattoo, the trident, the name L. Wade, the inscription Team 6, 2008. Ghost, he whispers. Kara nods once. Sir. The name spreads through the room like electricity. Ghost, the ghost. Master Chief Brennan, the woman who doesn't exist anymore. The legend who disappeared 6 years ago and everyone assumed was dead. Crawford straightens. And then in front of 300 people, he does something no one expects. He salutes, a full formal military salute, to a woman in rags. Master Chief Brennan, he says, voice shaking. We didn't know you were... He can't finish, can't find the words for what she is, what she's become. Kara returns the salute. Her hand trembles. Permission to approach Admiral. Granted, she walks down the aisle. Every eye follows her. Some families lean away, others stare in shock. But the SEALs, the graduates, the instructors, the old warriors scattered through the audience, they all stand, one by one, rising to their feet, honoring one of their own. Lydia doesn't wait. She jumps off the stage and runs, actually runs, down the aisle, her dress shoes slapping against the floor. She crashes into Kara with the force of 6 years of grief and longing and unanswered questions. Her arms wrap around Kara's shoulders. She buries her face in Kara's neck, and she sobs, not quiet tears, full gasping sobs that shake her whole body. Mom, Mom, I thought you were dead. I thought I'd lost you forever. Kara holds her, her hands rough and broken and scarred from 6 years on the streets, cradle her daughter's head, pull her close. She smells Lydia's shampoo. Regulation issue. The same brand Kara used 20 years ago. I'm sorry, Kara whispers. I'm so sorry, baby. I thought you'd be better without me. I thought I was protecting you. I was never better without you. Lydia pulls back, looks at her mother's face, really looks, sees the damage, the years, the cost. Never. Behind them, Admiral Crawford has his hand over his mouth. Commander Stone is standing, frozen, her clipboard on the floor. And then from somewhere in the crowd, a single pair of hands starts clapping. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, the entire auditorium is on its feet. Applause thundering through the hall like a storm. But for Kara and Lydia, there's no sound. Just the two of them. Just a mother and daughter who found each other again. Crawford lets it go on for 30 seconds. Then he raises a hand. The applause dies. Master Chief Brennan, he says loud enough to Carrie, would you like to tell us how you got here? Kara looks at him, confused. Crawford's expression is gentle, understanding. These sailors need to hear this. They need to understand that the path doesn't end when you come home, that sometimes the real war is the one you fight alone. Kara shakes her head. Sir, I don't. 6 stories, Crawford says quietly. That's all. 6 moments that made you who you are. 6 lessons these young warriors need to learn. Kara looks at Lydia. Her daughter nods, encouraging. Okay, Kara whispers. Crawford gestures to the stage. Come, let's give them something they'll remember. Kara and Lydia walk to the stage together. Kara climbs the steps. Her legs nearly give out. Lydia catches her, steadies her. They stand there, mother and daughter, one in pristine dress whites, one in rags stained with blood and concrete dust. Both warriors. Crawford steps to the microphone. Before we continue with the ceremony, I want to tell you about Master Chief Kara Brennan, because her story is one you need to hear. Not the sanitized version, not the legend, the truth. He pauses, looks at Kara. She nods. Story number 1, Crawford begins. Afghanistan 2000. Master Chief Brennan was 30 years old. First female sniper in a SEAL team. And every man on that team thought she'd wash out within a week. The auditorium is silent. Crawford's voice shifts. Takes on the cadence of a storyteller. And suddenly they're not in an auditorium anymore. They're in the Hindu Kush. Dust and heat and the smell of gunpowder. The year was 2000. Kara was 30 years old and 3 months into her first deployment. The team didn't want her there. Not because she couldn't shoot, everyone knew she could shoot, but because she was different, female, and different meant uncertain. Uncertain meant dead. The mission brief came down at 0:30. Taliban commander, high-value target, holed up in a compound 15 kilometers from base. Intel said he was planning an attack on a coalition convoy. Timeline 48 hours. The problem was range, 1,200 meters from the nearest vantage point to the target building. And weather, 40-mile-per-hour crosswinds, sandstorm rolling in from the west. The kind of shot that even the best snipers would think twice about. Kara's spotter was a petty officer named Marcus Dent, 35 years old, 12 years in the teams. He'd seen 3 female candidates wash out of sniper school, and he made no secret of his opinion that Kara would be number 4. They climbed to the hide position in darkness. Rocky outcropping, no vegetation, nothing but dust and stone, and a sight line that made Kara's stomach turn. She set up the rifle. M40A3, the same weapon she'd qualified with at Quantico. Reliable, accurate, but not magic. Dent ranged the target, called the numbers. 1,200 meters, wind quartering from the left, 43 miles per hour at elevation, pressure dropping, storm coming. This is a no-go, Chief, he said. We should wait for better conditions. Kara was watching the dust devils between their position and the target, reading the air. Wind doesn't move in straight lines. It curves, eddies, creates pockets of calm and chaos. You can't measure that with instruments. You have to feel it. Target's moving in 48 hours, she said. We don't have better conditions. Then we call air support and risk civilian casualties. The compound was in the middle of a village. Women and children everywhere. No, I can make this shot. Dent stared at her. You're insane. Maybe, probably, but Kara had spent 3 years at sniper school, had fired more than 50,000 rounds in training, had studied ballistics and meteorology, and the specific way the M40A3 behaved at extreme range. She knew this rifle better than she knew herself. She settled into position. Cheek weld, eye relief, breathing, slow, controlled. The target appeared in the window. Second floor, bearded man, a K-47 slung over his shoulder. Talking on a radio. Kara calculated. 1,200 meters. Bullet drop 38 minutes of angle. Wind drift 22 minutes right. Coriolis effect negligible at this range, but still a factor. Spin drift 8 inches. She didn't use a ballistic computer. Didn't have one. This was 2000. You calculated in your head or you missed. She adjusted the scope. Held high, held left, waited for the wind to settle, breathed out. Between heartbeats, when the body is perfectly still, that's when you squeeze. The rifle bucked. The sound rolled across the valley. 4.2 seconds later, the time it takes a 168-grain bullet to travel 1,200 meters, the target dropped. Dent was on the spotting scope. He watched the man fall, watched the other Taliban fighters scatter. Then he lowered the scope and looked at Kara. Center mass, he said quietly. Perfect shot. Kara didn't celebrate, didn't smile, just worked the bolt, chambered another round, scanned for additional targets. Dent keyed his radio. Jackpot, HVT down, exfil in 15. They climbed down from the hide, got back to base before the sandstorm hit. And when they debriefed, Dent did something Kara didn't expect. He shook her hand. I was wrong, Chief, he said. You're the real deal. Word spread. Within a week, every SEAL on that base knew about the shot. 1,200 meters and 40-mile-per-hour winds. First female sniper. Perfect execution. They started calling her Ghost because the enemy never saw her. Never knew she was there until it was too late. The name stuck. Crawford pauses, looks out at the audience. The graduates are leaning forward, listening, learning. Story number 2, he says. Ramadi, Iraq, 2004. And this one's about what happens when the plan falls apart. Ramadi was hell. Urban combat. Every window a potential shooter. Every doorway a potential bomb. The Marines had been fighting there for months and the city was bleeding them dry. Kara's team was attached to a Marine battalion. Overwatch for a patrol moving through the Mala'ab district. Intelligence said the area was clear. Intelligence was wrong. Kara was on a rooftop with her spotter. Laurel Wade. Call sign Hawk. They'd been partners for 2 years by then. Knew each other's rhythms. Trusted each other completely. The patrol was 3 blocks south. 12 Marines. Moving slow. Clearing buildings. Everything by the book. Then the world exploded. RPG from a second-story window. Hit the lead vehicle. Marines bailing out. Small arms fire from 3 directions. The patrol was pinned. 6 wounded. No way to evacuate. Radio traffic screaming for support. Kara counted targets. 8 shooters. Spread across a 200-meter sector. Moving through civilian buildings. Using women and children as shields. I can't get a clean shot, Laurel said. She was on the spotting scope. Scanning. Too many civilians. Then we make them clean. Kara was already calculating. 8 targets. 8 shots. No room for error. Miss 1 and he kills Marines. The first shooter was in a minaret, 400 meters. He had an RPG, reloading. Kara put the crosshairs on his chest. Squeezed. The rifle spoke. The shooter dropped. Second target, 3rd floor window, a K-47, firing on full auto. Kara adjusted, fired. The shooting stopped. Third target, rooftop across the street. Kara didn't wait for Laurel to call it. Saw the muzzle flash, adjusted, fired. She worked through them methodically. 1 shot per target, no wasted ammunition. 47 seconds from first shot to last. 8 targets, 8 hits. The Marines got their wounded loaded, started to pull back. That's when the building started to collapse. The RPG that hit the lead vehicle had also damaged a support column. The whole structure was coming down. Kara and Laurel had maybe 10 seconds. They ran. Laurel grabbed the rifle. Kara grabbed the gear. They hit the stairwell as the roof caved in behind them. Concrete dust choking, rebar screaming, the whole world shaking. They made it to the street, barely, covered in white dust, ears ringing, but alive. The Marines loaded them into a vehicle, drove them back to base. And when the battalion commander debriefed them, he looked at Kara with something like awe. 8 shots, 8 kills, 47 seconds. Chief, that's the best shooting I've ever seen. Kara shook her head. Wasn't just me, sir. Hawk called every target, kept me calm, pulled me out of that building when it came down. She's the reason we made it. Laurel grinned. Team effort, sir. The commander nodded. Wrote them both up for commendations. But what Kara remembered most wasn't the medals. It was Laurel's hand on her shoulder as they ran from that collapsing building. Steady pressure, saying without words, I got you. Crawford's voice drops. The auditorium is absolutely silent. Story number 3, he says quietly, and this one costs, so pay attention. The year was 2008. Kara was 38 years old. Laurel Wade was 30. They'd been partners for 8 years, closer than sisters. Trusted each other with their lives 100 times over. The mission came down through JSOC, 4 American journalists, kidnapped by insurgents in Fallujah. Intel said they were being held in a 6-story building in the industrial district, 40-plus enemy combatants. Execution scheduled for 24 hours. Timeline now. Kara led the team. 8 SEALs, Laurel as her second in command. The plan was simple. Infiltrate through the sewers, breach from below, fast and clean. Get the hostages out before the enemy could react. They went in at 0200 hours. No moon. Perfect darkness. The sewers smelled like death and chemicals. Kara led them through a maze of tunnels, came up inside the building, ground floor. The hostages were on the 4th floor. Intel was good for once. They worked their way up, floor by floor, CQB, close quarters battle, the kind of fighting that happens in hallways and stairwells and rooms the size of closets. The kind where you smell the enemy before you see them. 1st floor clear, 2nd floor 3 enemy killed, 3rd floor ambush. They were waiting. Kara took a round in her plate carrier, knocked her back. Laurel stepped over her, returned fire, dropped 2 shooters, pulled Kara to cover. You good? Yeah, plate caught it. Kara's chest felt like she'd been kicked by a horse. But nothing broken, just bruised ribs. They pushed to the 4th floor, found the hostages, 4 journalists, duct-taped, terrified, but alive. Laurel cut them loose while Kara held security. The enemy knew they were there now. Alarm sounding, fighters moving toward their position. We need to move, Kara said. Now. They started the exfil, back the way they came, but the enemy had blocked the stairwell. Too many of them. Kara called an audible. Alternative route. Through the east wing, out onto the roof, fast rope down. They were almost there when Laurel took the hit. Sniper. 6th floor window across the street. Kara saw the muzzle flash half a second too late. Heard the crack. Saw Laurel stumble. Hawk. Laurel went down, blood spreading across her chest. Center mass, through the plate carrier. The round must have been armor-piercing. Kara dragged her into cover, returned fire, suppressing the sniper's position. The rest of the team formed a perimeter, got the hostages to the roof, but Kara stayed with Laurel. Talk to me, Hawk. Laurel's breathing was ragged, bubbling, lung shot, maybe worse. It's bad ghost, blood on her lips. I can feel it. No, you're fine. Medevac's coming. You're going to be fine. Laurel grabbed Kara's hand, squeezed. Listen, Harper, my daughter, and Viv. Tell them, she coughed. More blood. Tell them I love them. Tell Harper I was brave. Promise me. You're going to tell them yourself. Promise me. Kara's vision blurred. I promise. I swear to God. Hawk, I'll watch over them. I'll make sure they're okay. Laurel smiled, weak, fading. You're the best of us, Ghost. Always were. And then she was gone. Kara screamed for the medevac, held Laurel's body, applied pressure to a wound that couldn't be fixed. The team had to physically pull her away, had to drag her to the roof, had to force her onto the helicopter. They got the hostages out, mission success, 8 people saved, but Laurel Wade didn't come home. Kara got the coordinates of where Laurel fell tattooed on her arm, got Laurel's name inked next to the trident, got the reminder that no matter how good you are, no matter how prepared, sometimes you lose the people you love. And the guilt started then. Small at first, whispers. You led that mission, your call, your responsibility. It grew. Crawford wipes his eyes. He's not the only one. Half the auditorium is crying, even the hardened SEALs, even the instructors who've seen it all. Story number 4, he says, is about what happens when you try to be both warrior and mother, and how sometimes you fail at both. The year was 2008. Lydia was 7 years old. Kara came home from Fallujah different, broken. The nightmares started immediately. Every night, Laurel bleeding out, asking why. Kara unable to answer. She tried. God, she tried. She showed up for Lydia, took her to school, helped with homework, taught her to shoot at the range on weekends. That's what Lydia remembered most. Age 8, standing at the range with a .22 rifle. Kara behind her, patient, calm. Breathe in, breathe out, between heartbeats. That's when you squeeze. Lydia fired, hit the target, not center but close. Good, again. They spent hours there, mother and daughter, building something. Kara thought maybe this could save her. Maybe being a mother could quiet the ghosts. It didn't. Age 11, Lydia asked about medals. Kara showed her the Purple Heart. Told her about Ramadi, about the shrapnel, about Laurel pulling her to cover. What happened to Laurel? Kara's hands shook. She died in combat, saving people. Were you there? Yes. Did you try to save her? Yes. But you couldn't. No. Lydia hugged on her. It's okay, Mom. You tried. If only it were that simple. The breaking point came in 2016. Lydia was 15. Kara had just returned from her final deployment. Syria, the mission where she froze, where her PTSD got 2 SEALs wounded, where she realized she was more danger than asset. She was home 3 days when it happened. Nightmare. Bad one. Kara woke up swinging, saw an enemy combatant, saw a threat, saw Lydia. Her daughter had come into the room to wake her, touch her shoulder, and Kara's training took over. Hand around Lydia's throat, squeezing, lifting her off the ground. Lydia screamed, Mom, Mom, it's me. Kara's brain caught up. She dropped Lydia, stumbled back, horror washing over her. Lydia on the floor, gasping, red marks on her throat. Baby, oh God, baby, I'm sorry, I thought you were. But Lydia was crying, terrified, looking at her mother like she was a stranger. Kara left that night, wrote a letter, packed a bag, disappeared before sunrise. Because a weapon that malfunctions is dangerous, and she couldn't risk hurting her daughter again. The letter said, I'm leaving because I love you. Be the woman I couldn't be. Lydia found it at breakfast, called her mother's phone, no answer, never answered again. Kara became a ghost for real. Crawford finishes, looks at Kara. She's crying silently. Lydia has her arm around her mother's shoulders. 4 stories, Crawford says. Technical excellence, combat leadership, devastating puss, the cost of service, and we haven't even gotten to the hardest parts yet. He looks at the graduates, at the young faces staring back. Master Chief Brennan will continue her story, but first I want you to understand something. This woman earned 89 confirmed kills across 4 combat deployments. She saved hundreds of lives. She's a legend. And 6 years ago, she was living under a bridge. He lets that sink in. Remember that. When you think you're invincible, when you think PTSD won't touch you, when you think asking for help is weakness, remember Master Chief Kara Brennan and learn from her mistakes so you don't have to make them yourselves. The auditorium erupts, not applause this time, something deeper. Recognition, respect, understanding. Kara stands there, broken and exhausted and more vulnerable than she's ever been. But for the first time in 6 years, she's not invisible. She's seen. Admiral Crawford gestures to Kara. Story number 5, the one that ended your career. Kara takes a breath. Her voice is rough from disuse. 6 years on the streets, you stop talking, stop explaining. But these young warriors deserve the truth. Syria, she begins, 2017. I was 47 years old, 20 years in the teams. I thought I'd seen everything, thought I could handle anything. The auditorium is silent. I was wrong. The mission briefing happened in a secure facility outside Damascus. 3 American journalists, taken by ISIS militants, video released showing execution scheduled for 72 hours. The usual demands, prisoner exchange, money, things the United States doesn't negotiate. So they sent Kara's team instead. 8 SEALs, best of the best. Intel said the hostages were in a compound 15 kilometers behind enemy lines. 40-plus militants. Fortified position. But SEAL Team 6 had done impossible things before. Kara led the mission brief, showed the maps, the entry points, The timeline? Breach at 0300, fast and surgical, in and out before sunrise. But something was wrong. Kara could feel it. A tremor in her hands during the brief. A flash of Laurel's face when she looked at the compound photos. PTSD symptoms getting worse. The VA had warned her. Recommended she step down from operational status. She'd ignored them. Pride. Stubbornness. The belief that she could push through anything. They infiltrated at midnight. Crossed 15 kilometers of desert. No vehicles. Foot patrol. Low and slow. Kara led them through terrain that would kill most people. They were ghosts. Silent. Invisible. They reached the compound at 0245. Set charges. Waited for the countdown. That's when it happened. Kara was stacked on the primary breach point. First through the door. Standard procedure. The charge blew. Flash and thunder. The door disintegrated. And Kara froze. She stood there in the doorway, weapon up but not moving, because she wasn't seeing a Syrian compound anymore. She was seeing Fallujah, seeing the building where Laurel died, seeing the stairwell, the blood, the way Laurel's eyes went distant. Ghost, move! Her number two was screaming in her ear. Move! But she couldn't. Her body wouldn't respond. PTSD had her locked in a moment 9 years in the past. Her team had to push past her, into the fatal funnel, the most dangerous position in any breach. And they took fire immediately. 2 SEALs hit. Body armor saved them, but they were down, wounded. Kara's second-in-command grabbed her, shook her. Chief, snap out of it. The sound of his voice cut through. Kara came back, saw where she was, what she'd done. She pushed into the building, fought like a demon, overcompensating, trying to make up for the freeze. They found the hostages on the second floor. Got them out, extracted under fire. Mission success. But 2 of her SEALs were wounded because she'd frozen, because her brain had betrayed her at the worst possible moment. The debrief was brutal, not angry, worse, concerned, gentle. The kind of conversation that happens when everyone knows it's over, but nobody wants to say it. The CO pulled her aside after. Kara, you're done. Medical retirement, full honors. But you're a liability now. You understand that. She understood. What she didn't understand was how to live with it. Kara returned stateside. Lydia was 16, angry, feeling abandoned. They fought, screaming matches about responsibility and duty and why Kara couldn't just be a normal mother. You're never here, Lydia shouted. And when you are here, you're somewhere else, in your head, with your ghosts. I'm trying. You're not trying hard enough. Kara could have stayed, could have fought for her daughter, could have gotten help. Instead, she left, again, because leaving was easier than facing what she'd become. She packed a bag, wrote another letter, walked out before dawn. This time she didn't plan to come back. Crawford's voice is quiet, and that's how legends die. Not in combat, not in a blaze of glory, but alone, broken, believing they're protecting the people they love by disappearing. Kara wipes her eyes. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought Lydia would be better off without a broken mother. I was wrong. But by the time I realized it, 6 years had passed. Story number 6, Crawford says. The Invisible War. Tell them about the streets. Kara looks out at the audience, sees the young faces, the pressed uniforms, the people who think they're invincible. The first night under the bridge, she says, I wanted to die. No sugarcoating, no softening, just truth. I had my sidearm, loaded, safety off. I sat there in the dark and thought about how easy it would be. 1 round. No more nightmares, no more guilt, no more failing the people I loved. The auditorium is dead silent. But then this old man showed up, called himself Reese Calloway, Gulf War vet, lost his leg in Desert Storm, spent 20 years in and out of VA hospitals before the streets claimed him. Reese found her that first night, saw the gun in her hand, sat down next to her without saying a word, just sat there, waiting. Finally, Kara spoke. I can't do this anymore. Yeah, Reese said. I felt that way too, about 1,000 times. How'd you stop? Didn't, still feel it, but I got curious about tomorrow, wanted to see if it might be different than today. Such a simple thing, curiosity, not hope, not faith, just wondering if maybe tomorrow wouldn't hurt quite as much. Kara put the gun away. Reese became her anchor, taught her how to survive on the streets, where to find food, which shelters were safe, which cops would leave you alone, and which ones would roust you just for existing. But mostly he taught her how to be invisible. Street rule number 1, he'd say, Don't make eye contact. People look right through you when you're homeless. Let them. It's safer that way. Kara learned. She became a ghost for real. Moved through the city unseen, helped other veterans when she could, shared food, shared information, built a quiet community under that bridge. But the hardest part wasn't survival, it was the invisibility. People looked right through her, stepped over her, acted like she didn't exist. Business executives walking to their cars, college students on their way to class, families heading to restaurants. She was a ghost among the living. I saved 8 people in Fallujah, Kara says to the auditorium, earned 89 confirmed kills, spent 20 years defending this country, and I became invisible the moment I put on dirty clothes and sat on a sidewalk. She pauses, lets that sink in. The worst part, I started to believe I deserved it. Started to believe that this was my penance. For Laurel, for Lydia, for every mistake I'd ever made. 6 years passed, seasons changed, Kara got older, thinner, harder. The nightmares never stopped, but they became familiar. Like old enemies you've fought so many times you know their patterns. Then 2 months ago something happened. Kara was walking through a park. Saw a woman being attacked. 3 men, late at night. The woman was screaming, but nobody was helping. People were walking past, looking away. Kara's training kicked in before her brain could catch up. She moved. Fast, silent. 20 years of combatives training don't disappear just because you're homeless. First attacker went down from a throat strike. Second took an elbow to the temple. Third one ran. The woman stared at Kara, terrified, not of the attackers, of her rescuer. "Who are you?" the woman whispered. Kara almost said nobody, almost walked away, but something made her answer honestly. Someone who knows what it's like to be invisible. The woman was Sarah Whitmore, Army medic, struggling with PTSD and homelessness after saving lives in Iraq. They talked. Kara helped her find a shelter, gave her information about resources Reese had taught her about. And for the first time in 6 years, Kara felt useful. Felt like maybe her training, her experience, her pain. Maybe it could mean something. She started helping more veterans, became a quiet guardian under that bridge, protecting the vulnerable, sharing what she knew, building something that mattered. Then she found the flyer. It was wedged in a bus stop bench, crumpled, stained, but the words were clear. SEAL Class 347, graduation. Brennan and Lydia Marie, squad leader. I walked 43 miles to get here, Kara tells the auditorium. Bleeding feet, no food, no water. Because I needed to see my daughter one more time. Needed to know she made it, even if she never knew I was there. She looks at Lydia. Her daughter is crying, holding her hand. But she knew. "Didn't you, baby?" Lydia nods, steps forward to the microphone. "I hired a private investigator 3 years ago," Lydia says. Her voice is strong, clear, SEAL-trained projection. "Found my mom living under the Coronado Bridge. I wanted to bring her home, wanted to force her into treatment, but my therapist said I couldn't save someone who didn't want to be saved." She pauses, wipes her eyes. "So I did the next best thing. I paid Reese Calloway to watch over her, gave him money every month, asked him to keep her safe, to wake her when the nightmares got too bad, to make sure she ate, to be there when I couldn't be." The audience murmurs. Crawford looks shocked. Kara stares at her daughter. You knew this whole time, Lydia confirms. "I watched you, Mom, from a distance, made sure you were okay. And I became a SEAL because you taught me that quitting isn't an option, that you fight through the pain, that you never leave a teammate behind." She takes Kara's hand, squeezes. "You're my teammate, Mom, and I never stopped fighting for you." The auditorium explodes, not polite applause, raw emotional thunder. 300 people on their feet, crying, cheering, witnessing something that transcends ceremony. Crawford lets it build, then raises his hand. Silence falls. "Master Chief Brennan," he says formally, "I believe we have some unfinished business." He picks up the trident from the podium, the small gold pin that means everything. "Would you like to pin this on your daughter?" Kara's hands are shaking. "Sir, I don't deserve." "You earned this right 25 years ago when you took the oath. You earned it again every day for 6 years when you chose to keep living. Now pin that trident, Master Chief. That's an order." Kara takes the pin, looks at it, remembers her own pinning ceremony in 1999, remembers the weight of it, the promise it represents. She turns to Lydia. Her daughter stands at attention, perfect posture, eyes forward, but there are tears streaming down her face. Kara's hands steady, muscle memory. The same hands that held a rifle at 1,200 meters. The same hands that carried Laurel Wade's body to the medevac. The same hands that almost hurt her own daughter. Now they pin a trident over Lydia's heart. I wasn't there for a lot of things, Kara says quietly. Wasn't there for birthdays, graduations, your first heartbreak. When your father died, I was deployed. When you needed me most, I was gone. She secures the pin. It clicks into place. But I'm so proud of who you became. You're everything I hoped you'd be. Everything I couldn't be. Lydia breaks attention, wraps her arms around Kara. You were always there, Mom. You taught me everything that matters. Courage, discipline, how to breathe between heartbeats, how to never quit. They stand there, mother and daughter, both SEALs, both warriors, both survivors. The ceremony continues. The remaining graduates receive their tridents, but nobody remembers them. All anyone will remember is the image of Master Chief Kara Brennan, homeless for 6 years, broken but not beaten, pinning the trident on her daughter. After the ceremony ends, Admiral Crawford pulls Kara aside. Commander Stone is with him. They walk to a private room off the main hall. Sit, Crawford says gently. Kara sits. Her legs are shaking. Adrenaline crash. She's been running on fumes for 3 days. Stone hands her a bottle of water. Kara drinks it in 4 swallows. How long on the streets, Master Chief, Crawford asks. 6 years, sir. The VA, I fell through the cracks, stopped showing up to appointments. Easier to disappear than face it. Crawford's jaw tightens. Unacceptable. You saved lives. You served with distinction. The Navy failed you. That ends today. Sir, I don't need... It's not about what you need. It's about what you earned. Effective immediately, I'm assigning Captain Lewis from Veteran Affairs to your case. He'll handle housing, medical, full psychiatric evaluation and treatment. You'll have answers within 72 hours. Kara wants to argue, but she's too tired, too broken, and maybe for the first time in 6 years she wants help. Yes, sir, she whispers. Stone steps forward. Master Chief, we're expanding the female SEAL training program. We need experienced operators to mentor the candidates. People who understand the reality, the cost, someone real. Ma'am, I'm not fit for duty. Not combat duty, mentorship, teaching. You'd work with candidates going through the pipeline, help them understand what they're getting into, the good and the bad, especially the bad. Kara looks at her hands, scarred, dirty, shaking. I'd have to complete treatment first, she says slowly. Can't teach if I'm still broken. Treatment isn't optional, Stone agrees. But Master Chief, being broken doesn't disqualify you. It makes you the perfect mentor. These young warriors need to see that you can break and still keep fighting. That asking for help is strength, not weakness. Kara thinks about the years under the bridge, the nights she wanted to die, the mornings she chose to live, the veterans she helped, the women she protected. Maybe her brokenness is exactly what makes her qualified. One condition, Kara says. Stone raises an eyebrow. Name it. I want to work with Reese Calloway too. Get him into housing, into treatment. He saved my life. I owe him. Stone nods. Done. We'll add him to the Veteran Outreach Program. Then I accept, ma'am. Lydia appears in the doorway. Mom, you ready to go? Kara stands. Her legs nearly give out. Lydia catches her, steadies her. Where are we going? My place. It's small, but it's clean. You're staying with me until we figure this out. Baby, I don't want to be a burden. You're not a burden. You're my mother. End of discussion. They walk out together through the parking lot. Families still celebrating, taking photos, loading cars with flowers and balloons. Lydia's apartment is off base, 15 minutes away. 1 bedroom, couch, kitchen the size of a closet, but it's warm, clean, safe. Kara stands in the doorway, hesitant. She hasn't been indoors, really indoors, in 6 years. Come on, Lydia says gently. You're safe here. Kara steps inside. The door closes behind her. And for the first time in 2,190 days, she's not outside. Not exposed, not running. Showers through there, Lydia points. Take as long as you need. I'll find you some clean clothes. Kara walks to the bathroom, turns on the shower. The water is hot. Steam fills the room. She strips off her filthy clothes, steps under the spray, and breaks down. 6 years of grief and shame and loneliness wash away with the dirt. She cries until she has nothing left, until the water runs cold and her skin is pink and raw. When she finally steps out, there are clean clothes on the counter. Sweatpants, t-shirt, too big but soft. Lydia's clothes. Kara dries off, dresses, looks in the mirror. She's still hollow-eyed, still too thin, but clean. For the first time in forever clean. She walks out to find Lydia making coffee. Real coffee. Not the instant stuff from the shelter. Not the dregs from a dumpster. Sit, Lydia says. We need to talk. They sit on the couch. Lydia hands her a mug. Kara wraps both hands around it, letting the warmth seep into her fingers. Tell me about the 6 years, Lydia says quietly. Everything. So Kara does. She talks about Reese, about the bridge, about the nightmares that never stopped, about helping other veterans, about the night she saved Sarah Whitmore from an attack, about finding the flyer, about walking 43 miles because she needed to see her daughter one more time. Lydia listens, doesn't interrupt, doesn't judge, just listens. When Kara finishes, Lydia asks the question she's been holding for 6 years. Why didn't you come back? Even after you got stable, why didn't you reach out? Kara's voice breaks. Because I almost killed you, Lydia. That night when I had the flashback. When I grabbed your throat. For 5 seconds I didn't see you. I saw an enemy. And if you hadn't screamed, if I hadn't snapped out of it, I would have killed my own daughter. But you didn't. Only because you stopped me, not because I was strong enough to stop myself. Lydia sets down her coffee, takes her mother's hands. Mom, you're not a weapon. You're a person. A person who's been hurt. And people who are hurt need help. Not isolation, not punishment. Help. I was scared I'd hurt you again. Then we'll work through it together. You didn't quit in Fallujah when Laurel died. You didn't quit in Syria even when you froze. Don't quit now, not when I need you. Kara looks at her daughter, sees the woman she's become. Strong, compassionate. Everything Kara tried to teach her and more. Okay, she whispers. Okay, I'll try. They sit there for hours, talking, crying, healing, building a bridge across 6 years of silence. Finally exhausted, Kara falls asleep on the couch. Lydia covers her with a blanket, watches her mother sleep, sees the way her face twitches. The nightmares never stop. But at least now, Kara isn't facing them alone. The next morning, Captain Lewis from Veteran Affairs calls. Housing secured, medical appointments scheduled, therapy 3 times a week, PTSD grouped twice a week. Kara moves into temporary veteran housing on base 2 days later. Small room, bed, desk, window overlooking the ocean. It's not much, but it's hers. The therapy starts immediately. Dr. Patricia Morgan, 65 years old, veteran therapist. 2 Purple Hearts of her own. Vietnam. She doesn't pull punches. First session. Dr. Morgan sits across from Kara in a small office. 2 chairs, box of tissues, window with blinds half closed. Tell me about Laurel Wade, she says. Kara shuts down. I can't. Can't or won't. What's the difference? Can't means you're not ready. Won't means you're choosing not to heal. Which is it, Master Chief? Kara sits in silence for 20 minutes. Doctor. Morgan doesn't push. Just waits. Patient. She's done this before. Knows that silence is part of the process. Finally, Kara breaks. I promised her right before she died. Promised I'd watch over Harper, her daughter. And I disappeared. I failed Laurel twice, first by getting her killed, then by breaking my promise. You didn't get her killed. She was a SEAL. She knew the risks. I led that mission, my call to breach, my responsibility. And if she'd lived and you died, would you want her carrying that guilt? Kara stops, thinks about it. Laurel would never blame her. Laurel would tell her to let it go, to live, to be there for Harper, like they'd always planned. No, Kara admits, I wouldn't. Then why do you think you deserve to carry it? Such a simple question, such a devastating answer. Because guilt is easier than forgiveness. Because pain is familiar. Because Kara doesn't know who she is without it. The sessions continue, 3 times a week, each one peeling back another layer, each one hurting, but necessary. Week 2, Dr. Morgan asks about the freeze in Syria. You froze because your brain was trying to protect you, she explains. PTSD isn't weakness, it's your mind's way of processing trauma. The problem is it processes at the worst times. 2 men got wounded because of me. 2 men got wounded because of combat, not because of you. You think you're the first SEAL to freeze, the first operator to have a flashback at the wrong moment. I should have been stronger. Stronger than your own brain, Master Chief. That's not how this works. You can't willpower your way through PTSD. That's like trying to willpower your way through a broken leg. Kara absorbs this. It doesn't make the guilt disappear. but it makes it smaller, more manageable. Week 4, the relapse. Kara's in her room, watching the news. A report about a bombing in Iraq, same location as Fallujah, same streets where Laurel died. The flashback hits like a freight train. Suddenly she's back there. 2008, the building, the gunfire, Laurel bleeding out in her arms, the smell of blood and concrete dust, the sound of Laurel's last breath. Kara's chest tightens. Can't breathe. Can't think. The walls are closing in. She stumbles out of her room, down the hallway, outside, into the night. She runs, doesn't know where, just runs. Away from the memories, away from the pain. She ends up at the bridge. Her bridge. The concrete alcove where she lived for 6 years. It's empty now. Reese is in treatment. The other vets moved on. Just shadows and graffiti. Kara sits down, back against the concrete, pulls her knees to her chest. This is where she belongs. Not in housing, not in treatment. Here, with the other broken things. Her phone rings. Lydia. Kara doesn't answer. It rings again. Still doesn't answer. Text message. Mom, where are you? Captain Lewis said you left the facility. Another text. Please answer. I'm worried. Another, I'm coming to find you. 20 minutes later, headlights sweep across the bridge. Lydia's car. She parks, gets out, walks down to the alcove, finds Kara sitting there, shaking, crying. Lydia doesn't say anything, just sits down next to her mother, in the dirt, in the dark, like she has all the time in the world. They sit there for 5 minutes, in 15. Finally, Kara speaks. I can't do this. It's too hard. I thought I was getting better, but it's still there. It's always there. I know. What if I can't get better? What if this is who I am now? Lydia takes her mother's hand. Then we figure it out together. You stayed in Fallujah when it would have been easier to retreat. Stay now. For me, for Reese, for all those candidates who need you. What if I fail them? You won't, because you're still here, still fighting. That's all anyone can ask. Kara looks at her daughter, sees the faith there, the certainty, the love that never wavered even when Kara disappeared for 6 years. Okay, she whispers. Okay, let's go back. They sit there for another hour, then drive back together. Kara calls Dr. Morgan in the morning, tells her what happened. Relapses are part of recovery, Dr. Morgan says. You didn't use, didn't hurt yourself. You reached out. That's progress, Master Chief. Doesn't feel like progress. It never does. But you're still here. That's what matters. The treatment intensifies. EMDR therapy to process the trauma. Group sessions with other combat vets. Medication adjustment. It's hard. Some days Kara wants to quit, wants to run back to the bridge. But Lydia's there. And Reese, who's in his own recovery. And the candidates who come to her office asking questions about deployments and nightmares and how to cope. She stays. 6 months pass. Kara accepts Commander Stone's official offer, becomes a consultant for the SEAL mentorship program. Twice a week, she sits with candidates, not in a classroom, in her office, small and formal, safe. She tells them the truth about Fallujah, about Syria, about the 6 years under the bridge, about the relapse, about the fact that healing isn't linear. One candidate, Rebecca Moss, 24, reminds Kara of herself at that age. Confident, skilled, just graduated BUD/S. Rebecca comes to Kara's office after her first week at advanced training. Master Chief, can I ask you something? Anything. How do you deal with it, the guilt when you lose someone? Kara doesn't sugarcoat. You don't deal with it, you carry it, but you don't carry it alone. You find people who understand, you talk, you work through it, and some days you fail, but you keep trying. Rebecca nods. What if I freeze like you did in Syria? Then you get back up and you try again. The freeze doesn't define you, Rebecca. What you do after defines you. Rebecca absorbs this. Thank you, Master Chief. 3 weeks later, Rebecca comes back. She's struggling. PTSD from a training accident. Thinks she needs to quit. Kara sits with her for 2 hours, shares her own story, connects her with Dr. Morgan, helps her find resources. Rebecca stays, completes training. And later she tells Kara, you saved my career, maybe my life. Kara realizes something, her brokenness, her pain, her 6 years under the bridge. Maybe it wasn't wasted. Maybe it prepared her for this, to help others who are breaking. 1 year after the graduation, Kara and Lydia drive to the cemetery. First Sunday of the month. Their ritual. They walk through rows of white stones, find Laurel's grave. Fresh flowers already there. Kara kneels, traces Laurel's name. Hey, Hawk, it's been a year. Thought you'd want an update. Lydia kneels beside her. Hi, Aunt Laurel, Kara continues. I kept the promise. Took me 6 years to figure out how, but I did it. Harper's doing great, making you proud. And Lydia, she looks at her daughter. Lydia's everything we hoped she'd be. Footsteps behind them. Harper Wade, 21, Navy uniform, carrying red roses. Behind her, Vivian Wade, 58, silver hair, kind eyes. Uncle Kara, Harper says warmly, hugs her. Vivian approaches. Kara stands. They embrace. How are you doing? Vivian asks. Better. Some days are hard, but better. Laurel would be so proud of you. I hope so. They stand together. 4 women connected by Laurel, by loss, by love. Harper places roses on the grave. Mom would love this, all of us together. Vivian nods. She always said family isn't just blood, it's who shows up. Kara's throat tightens. I'm sorry I didn't show up for so long. You're here now, Vivian says simply. That's what matters. They stand in silence, remembering, honoring, healing. As the sun sets, they walk away together. Not as strangers, as family. That night, Kara sits by her window, watches the ocean. The same ocean she watched from under the bridge, but different now. Beautiful instead of threatening. Her phone buzzes, text from Lydia. Love you, Mom. Proud of you. Kara smiles, types back. Love you too, baby. She sets the phone down, picks up the photo from her nightstand. Lydia at 8, missing front tooth, target in hand. That photo survived 6 years on the streets. Cracked glass, faded color, but intact. Like Kara. Broken, but intact. She thinks about tomorrow. Teaching session with new candidates. Therapy with Dr. Morgan. Dinner with Lydia. Small things, normal things. Things she thought she'd lost forever. Her tattoo catches the light. Coordinates. Trident. L. Wade. The only easy day was yesterday, but today is worth fighting for. Kara closes her eyes, breathes, and sleeps. Not without nightmares. The nightmares never stop, but she's not alone anymore. And that makes all the difference. 5 years later, the Pacific sun rises over Coronado, painting the obstacle course in shades of gold and amber. Kara Brennan stands at the edge of the sandpit, watching a new class of SEAL candidates struggle through log PT. She's 59 now, silver threading through her hair, the hollowness gone from her cheeks, the tremor mostly absent from her hands. 5 years of therapy. 5 years of showing up. 5 years of choosing to live instead of hiding. Move it, the instructor screams. My grandmother's faster than that. Kara smiles. She remembers being on that log, 26 years ago. The only woman in a class of 82 men. 79 didn't make it. She made it. Her phone buzzes. Text from Lydia. Wheels up in 20. Won't have comms for 6 months. Love you, Mom. Kara types back. Stay safe. Come home. Lydia is a lieutenant commander now. 28 years old. Leading her own team. Somewhere Kara isn't allowed to know about. Doing things Kara will never hear about. Following in her mother's footsteps. The thought fills Kara with pride and terror in equal measure. She knows what Lydia is facing, knows the cost, but Lydia is strong, prepared, and unlike Kara, Lydia knows how to ask for help. The class finishes the evolution, collapses in the sand. Most of them anyway. One candidate stays on her feet, young woman, maybe 23, athletic build, determined eyes. She walks over to Kara. Master Chief Brennan, yes. I wanted to thank you, your story about Fallujah and the bridge. It got me through Hell Week. When I wanted to quit, I remembered what you said. That courage is choosing to keep going even when you're broken. Kara studies her, sees herself at that age, hungry, fearless, unbroken. Not yet anyway. What's your name? Riley Whitmore. Kara's breath catches. Whitmore. Sarah Whitmore's daughter. Riley's eyes widen. You know my mom. I do. We met 6 years ago. How is she? 3 years sober, working at the VA in San Diego, helping other homeless vets transition into housing. She talks about you sometimes, says you saved her life. Kara's throat tightens. She saved mine too, in a way. Riley shifts her weight. Master Chief, can I ask you something? Anything. The PTSD, the guilt, does it ever really go away? Kara looks out at the ocean. The same ocean she stared at from under the Coronado Bridge for 6 years. The same ocean she watches now from her apartment window every morning. No, she says honestly, it doesn't go away, but it gets quieter. You learn to live with it instead of being controlled by it. The key is not living with it alone. Riley absorbs this, nods slowly. How do you know when to ask for help? When you start thinking you don't need it, that's usually when you need it most. Riley smiles. Thank you, Master Chief. She jogs back to her class. Kara watches her go, sees the future, the next generation learning from the mistakes of the last. Full circle. Sarah Whitmore's daughter becoming a SEAL. The woman Kara saved 6 years ago now raising warriors. Her phone rings. Harper Wade. Uncle Kara, you still coming to dinner Sunday? Wouldn't miss it. Mom Viv is making pot roast. Tell her I'll bring dessert. Every Sunday for 5 years, dinner with Harper and Vivian. Sharing stories about Laurel, keeping her memory alive, building the family Kara thought she'd lost. She hangs up, starts walking back to her office, passes the auditorium where Lydia graduated 5 years ago, passes the memorial wall with Laurel's name etched in stone, passes the life she almost threw away. Her office door has a new plaque, Master Chief Kara Brennan, SEAL Resilience Program Director. Inside a young SEAL waits. Male, maybe 25, eyes red, hands shaking. Kara knows that look, seen it in the mirror for years. She sits down across from him. Tell me your story. Start from the beginning. He starts talking about a mission gone wrong, about losing his team leader, about the nightmares, about thinking he should quit. Kara listens, really listens, because that's what she does now. She listens, she helps. She gives others the second chance she almost didn't take. When he finishes, Kara says, "You're not broken, you're hurt. There's a difference. Broken means unfixable. Hurt means you need time and help to heal. But what if I can't heal? You can, I did. And I was living under a bridge for 6 years thinking I was too far gone. If I can come back, so can you." Hope flickers in his eyes. You really think so? I know so, but you have to do the work. Show up to therapy. Talk to your teammates. Don't do what I did. Don't disappear. He nods. Okay, I'll try. That's all anyone can ask. After he leaves, Kara sits alone in her office, looks at the photos on her wall, Lydia at her pinning ceremony, smiling, proud. Reese Calloway at his 1-year sober celebration. He's in permanent housing now, works part-time at a veteran support center, helps other homeless vets transition off the streets. Harper Wade at her promotion ceremony. Lieutenant now, following in her mother's footsteps. And Laurel, always Laurel, a photo from 2006, both of them in combat gear. Dusty, exhausted, alive. Kara touches the frame. Kept my promise, Hawk. Took a while, but I got there. Her phone buzzes. Email from Dr. Morgan. Kara, just heard Rebecca Moss made Team 6. She credits you for keeping her in the program. Well done. You're making a difference. Patricia. Kara smiles. Rebecca, the candidate who almost quit 3 years ago, now on Team 6, making a difference. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's the whole point. The sun climbs higher. Another day, another chance. Kara stands, walks to the window, looks out at Coronado. At the base where she spent 20 years. At the bridge where she spent 6 years. At the ocean that's been constant through everything. She thinks about the young SEAL who just left her office, about Riley Whitmore starting her journey, about Lydia deploying, about all the broken warriors trying to find their way. She thinks about Laurel's last words. Tell Harper I love her. Promise me. She thinks about her own last words to Lydia before she disappeared. Be the woman I couldn't be. Lydia became that woman anyway, despite Kara. Maybe because of her. Maybe both. Her tattoo catches the light. The coordinates, the trident, the name. 33 degrees, 31 minutes, 52 seconds north, 44 degrees, 36 minutes, 61 seconds east. The only easy day was yesterday. Kara traces the ink with her finger. 16 years since Fallujah. 6 years homeless. 5 years recovery. So much time. So much pain. So much lost. But also, so much gained. So many saved. So many lives touched. She thinks about what Dr. Morgan told her last month. Kara, you've transformed your trauma into purpose. That's the highest form of healing. Not erasing the pain, but making it mean something. Maybe she's right. Kara's computer pings. Calendar reminder. Teaching session in 30 minutes. Topic, recognizing PTSD in yourself and your teammates. She pulls up her notes. refines the presentation, adds a story from last week's group therapy. Because that's what she does now. She teaches. She mentors. She shows young warriors that you can break and still be valuable. That asking for help is strength, that surviving isn't the same as living, but you can learn to do both. The door opens. Commander Stone. Master Chief, got a minute? Always, ma'am. Stone sits down. I wanted to tell you personally, the program's expanding. We're getting funding for 10 more mentor positions because of your success rate. Candidates who go through your program have an 87% retention rate versus 62% baseline. Kara blinks. That's significant. It's transformative. You're changing the culture, Kara, making it okay to admit you're struggling, making it normal to seek help. I'm just telling them what I wish someone had told me. Exactly, and it's working. Stone pauses. There's more. We want to name the program after you. The Brennan Resilience Initiative. Kara shakes her head. Ma'am, I don't. You do. You earned it. Your story matters. Your recovery matters. Let it stand for something. Kara's eyes fill. Can we name it after Laurel, the Wade Brennan Initiative? She died so others could live. Seems fitting. Stone smiles. Even better. I'll make it happen. After Stone leaves, Kara sits alone, thinking about legacy, about what survives us. Laurel survived in Harper, in the SEALs she trained, in Kara's memory. Kara will survive in Lydia, in Riley and Rebecca and all the candidates she's mentored, in the program that bears her name. Not a bad legacy for a woman who spent 6 years thinking she didn't deserve to exist. Her phone alarm goes off. Teaching session in 5 minutes. Kara stands, straightens her uniform, walks to the classroom. 20 candidates waiting. Mix of men and women, all of them nervous. All of them wondering if they're strong enough, if they'll make it, if they'll break. Kara knows the answer, yes. They'll all break eventually. The question is whether they'll break alone or with support. She steps to the front of the room. Good morning, I'm Master Chief Kara Brennan, 20 years as a SEAL, 6 years homeless, 5 years in recovery, and I'm here to tell you that everything you think you know about strength is probably wrong. They lean forward, listening. Strength isn't never breaking. It's knowing how to ask for help when you do. It's showing up to therapy even when you don't want to. It's calling a teammate at 3 a.m. when the nightmares get too bad. It's choosing to live even when dying seems easier. She pauses, lets that sink in. I lost my best friend in Fallujah, froze during a mission in Syria, almost killed my own daughter during a PTSD episode, lived under a bridge for 6 years because I thought I was too broken to be saved. Their eyes are wide. This isn't the usual rah-rah military speech. But I'm still here, still fighting, still making a difference, because I finally learned that you don't have to be whole to be valuable. You just have to be willing to try. She clicks to the first slide. Now let's talk about recognizing PSD symptoms in yourself and your teammates, because the life you save might be your own. The session lasts 90 minutes. By the end, 3 candidates have tears in their eyes. 2 have stayed after to ask for help connecting with therapists. Kara gives them Dr. Morgan's contact information, shares her own story, reminds them that asking for help is the bravest thing a warrior can do. As the last candidate leaves, Kara gathers her materials. Another day, another small victory. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. She answers. Master Chief Brennan. Kara, it's Sarah Whitmore. Kara's heart lifts. Sarah, how are you? Good, 3 years sober, working at the VA, and I heard my daughter met you today. She did. She's going to be an incredible SEAL. Because of you, your story, the night you saved me, I went to treatment the next week, got help, got my life back, and I told Riley about you, about what real strength looks like. Kara's throat tightens. I just did what anyone would do. No, you did what a warrior does. You protected someone weaker, even when you had nothing, even when you were invisible. They talk for 20 minutes, catching up, sharing recovery stories, making plans to meet for coffee. When Kara hangs up, she realizes something. The web of connection. Sarah to Riley, Laurel to Harper, Kara to Lydia. All of them linked, all of them lifting each other up. That's what survives. Not the missions or the medals, the connections, the lives touched, the hope passed forward. Kara walks to her car. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold. She drives home, not to the bridge, to her apartment. The one-bedroom place she's lived in for 4 years. Small, modest, but hers. Inside, she makes dinner. Chicken and vegetables, healthy, regular. The kind of meal she couldn't imagine when she was scrounging from dumpsters. She eats slowly, mindfully, grateful. After dinner, she sits on her balcony, watches the ocean, thinks about tomorrow. Therapy with Dr. Morgan, lunch with Reese, teaching session in the afternoon, dinner with Harper and Vivian. A full life, a meaningful life, a life worth living. Her phone buzzes one last time. Text from an unknown number. Master Chief, this is Rebecca Moss. Maid Team 6 wanted you to be the first to know. Thank you for keeping me in the fight. Becca Kara smiles, types back. Congratulations, Lieutenant. Laurel would be proud. Stay safe, come home. She sets the phone down, looks at her tattoo one more time. The only easy day was yesterday, but today was pretty damn good. And tomorrow, she'll wake up and do it again. Teach, mentor, help, heal. Because that's what warriors do. They keep fighting, not just against enemies, against despair, against hopelessness, against the voice that says you're too broken to matter. Kara Brennan fought that voice for 6 years under a bridge, and she won. Not by being perfect, not by never breaking, but by getting up every single time she fell. That's the lesson. That's what she teaches. And 5 years from now, when Riley Whitmore faces her own darkness, she'll remember. When Rebecca Moss struggles with guilt, she'll reach out. When Lydia comes home from deployment carrying ghosts, she'll know her mother understands. The legacy continues. The circle expands. The hope multiplies. Kara Brennan closes her eyes, breathes the ocean air, and sleeps. Not without nightmares. The nightmares never stop. But she's not afraid of them anymore, because she knows how to wake up and keep fighting.